Hi, everyone. This is Manpreet Dillon from Bezek Community. I'm here with Ruby Fremon, who I had the chance to actually, I think we've met before, but I don't know. Last year, we actually maybe met in person after
Yeah.
following each other online for so many years.
Yeah. And being
And
in similar circles.
yes, exactly. We're like, how did we not meet before?
Yeah.
So last year, I had the privilege of going to Amplify Your Soul live. And it was an amazing event. Like I wasn't sure what to expect. I didn't know why I wanted to go or why I was pulled there. But I ended up having some deep, profound shifts while I was there, which I haven't even told Ruby about. So, so
Mm.
it was things that I thought I had already dealt with, but while I was there, it was like these conversations are happening. And then I'm like, oh my God, I need to go deeper. I need to go deeper. So it was really profound. So it was really important for me to, as I'm going again next year, but I wanted to invite others as well, because I think that what Ruby does in that room is really powerful. She's really able to engage people at this level that they can't even imagine for themselves. And I mean, I've seen the transformations over the year of people who've attended. I mean, I think there's still a lot more sisterhood from the event from the people we met there. And it's been amazing to watch the transformation. So I really want that transformation for other people as well. So I
Mm.
wanted to do this call with Ruby and get her to explain us a little bit more about who she is, why the event, and why we need to have you come. So
Yes.
yeah, exactly. So
Um,
Ruby, take it
yeah, I
away.
think it would be great to start by just introducing who I am to your community. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Ruby Fremon. I grew up in Vancouver, so I'm actually from Vancouver. I moved to LA in 2013, and I was raised in a Punjabi Sikh family. Now, my family is pretty modern, like as they call it, modern. Um,
Yes.
However, they still had that societal expectation of what my life was going to look like. It was set out in stone, go to school, get your degree, get married probably before you get your job, have kids, like do these things, follow this direction, and even like specific career paths. Um,
And which many of us can
yeah.
resonate with. Like
Yes,
having
and
those plans
which is
before.
why I'm sharing this.
Yeah.
And as women, especially with cultural backgrounds, a lot of us aren't encouraged to use our voices. And so for so long, for the majority of our lives, we're walking around wearing masks because we're told to suppress what we're really feeling. We're told to not cry, don't show what we're feeling. What are people going to think? Oh my God.
Mhm.
So for years, I tried on all these different masks. And I lived with depression and anxiety the majority of my life. And all of that got really bad around the age of 20. When I was diagnosed with PTSD, clinical depression, anxiety, fibromyalgia, and rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah.
I was put on a slew of medications, which I got addicted to, and that started my addiction. But it also created this like internal shame because I didn't have an outlet to really communicate about this with, because they didn't talk about mental illness in my community. I was also in a marriage where I wasn't happy. And I eventually left that marriage and kicked my prescriptions, but got addicted to other substances, because what I found was it wasn't the substance that I was addicted to, it was the feeling of numbing myself out, because I had never used my real voice, because I didn't have an outlet to express myself, because I didn't practice being in my fullest expression. The depression and the anxiety just continued to get out of control. And so my way of dealing with it, because I was never taught to talk about things, was to suppress it with alcohol and drugs, and more alcohol and drugs. And that was my life in my 20s into my early 30s.
So I'm going to
Um,
pause you there for a second. I want to talk
yeah,
about addiction a little bit.
yeah,
Um, because so the addiction comes in many different forms, as we know,
yes.
and it is a numbing. And some people, like I have addiction to work.
Hmm.
I have addiction personality. It's just something that I know that I will, you know, my tendency is to like throw myself fully into something, and then afterwards I'm like, oh wait a second, this is not serving me anymore, or
Hmm.
I'm just numbing myself, so I'm avoiding my real feelings. So what other types of addiction do you think exist out there? What do you know? Like, I mean, I know that we're not addiction
Yeah.
experts, but like what other types of addiction have you seen with past clients, or that you've seen people break
Hmm.
the habit of?
Yeah, so there's, obviously addiction to substances, there's addiction to work, there's addictions to people, experiences, things that take you out of where you are that you're trying to run away from. Basically the addiction is a coping mechanism. That's what it is. It's a coping mechanism for you to deal with what you are experiencing internally. And so you go to external sources or factors to bring that in. Maybe you have addiction to TV, watching hours upon hours of Netflix, addiction to your phone, scrolling all the fucking time. There are many different addictions, and all of these things are not only are they impeding your healing, but they're holding you back from being who you need to be, from helping. They hold you back from really truly unlocking your true potential, because you continue to lean into these things that are keeping you small and keeping you away from what you need to deal with in order to be who you are here to be.
It's amazing, right? So,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna let you finish talking about your story. I just wanted to
Yeah.
get people to like not think about addiction as just not substance, but there's other types of
Yes.
addiction that we need to be aware of. And we need to
Definitely.
just, even when we're numbing ourselves or when we're dealing with mental health issues, there's other factors that can be in place and other ways of acting out. So that's one of the things I wanted to,
Right. And the addiction to external validation. I'll throw
Oh,
that in there
completely,
in
yeah.
case, like
Yeah.
engagement, external validation.
Yeah.
Um, but in 2012, I ended a very abusive relationship, and I found myself at rock bottom again. And it was a very familiar place for me at this point in time. But what was different in 2012 was that I experienced myself like an inner voice say, like, you created this. As I was sitting there sobbing, heaving on the floor, like crying my eyes out. This is a point in my life where I was at the height of my addiction. I was in and out of abusive, toxic relationships, and I had completely lost sight of who I was. I was so disconnected to who I was. And some of you might relate to this when you look in the mirror and you don't really recognize who you're seeing. That was where I was. And when I heard myself say that, I realized that, wow, it was an accumulation of my choices and my decisions that have led me to this place. No one forced me here. Like, no one forced me to pick these men. No one forced me to numb myself in this way. No one forced me to make these toxic choices in my life. I did this. And so the misery that I was experiencing was self-inflicted. So I began to choose differently, and I began to design, for the first time in my life, design a vision for myself. And I didn't know the vision was what it is today.
Yeah.
All I knew at that point in time was, I want to be happy. And that was my vision. I was like, I'm tired of this shit. Let me be happy. What
Yeah,
can I do to
exactly.
be happy?
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I went from rock bottom to where I am today with ease. It was really tough, and I bounced back and forth a lot, but it was my unwavering commitment to creating a better life for myself. And eventually I found my soulmate, moved to LA, and I'm now working as a coach, helping people find their voice, but also unlock it and use it so that they can spread their message with the world. Because, having a purpose is super easy. And I think not enough people understand this. Like, having a purpose is easy, and recognizing what your purpose is, or some sort of clarity around what that is, that's pretty easy too. What's hard is activating your purpose and going after it and putting it into action. That's the hard thing. And what I encounter with my clients, with people who come to me, with my audience, is that they are stuck in that phase of like not fully activating their purpose because they have yet to fully activate who they are.
Of course.
And that is why I created Amplified Soul Live, is to help you activate who you are at the core of your being, so you can be who your purpose needs you to be. Because your purpose needs you to be a certain level of leader in order to lead it.
And that's what I loved about it. It was actually the activation, like where people actually took steps from it. It was not when you just go sit in an event and you learn and you're like, oh, that was so amazing. It was like, people actually, like, which is, there's certain events that happens at, which you need to.
We don't like those kind of events.
No.
Let's just be honest. I like to get everybody out of their seats. I mean, here's the thing is, if you think back, all of you listening, if you think back on your timelines and you think about the lessons that you've learned, they were never through books or listening to a lecture or watching a YouTube video. It's when you actually integrate that lesson, it's when you actually put it into action that the lesson locks itself into your cells. And so Amplified Soul Live, the way that I've structured it is that it is all about activation. It is all about integration. So not only are you learning the tools and strategies to amplify your presence, influence, and impact, but we will be putting that all into action. So by the end of the third day, you'll have already been activated. I mean, people literally leave feeling like a completely different person. And I can see it. And I think that's the coolest thing for me. That's the thing that I love the most is day 3, seeing everyone and how different they look and feel from day 1.
I think I love the dance parties though.
Yeah, there's a lot of dance parties.
Yeah, no, but it's so amazing. You can see people like the light shine and people's eyes were just lit up and they were already taking, and what I really loved about it were people were already taking inspired action throughout the weekend.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. They were connecting with who they needed to connect with. They were making the videos. They were like using their voice. And they actually had a plan to move forward, which I loved. And as they left, they were like, yeah, this is who I am. Mm-hmm. And it was amazing to see that alignment to their truth, which is amazing. Yeah, unreal.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I love that you said inspired action, because when you're in a room filled with visionaries, purpose-driven, heart-centered leaders who are really committed to their growth and to their missions, it's so awesome because the momentum just continues to build because you're in this container together and you become each other's biggest cheerleaders. And that's one thing that I had an intention to create with Amplified Soul Live, was really harnessing the power of community. And it's been so awesome to see that happen. I mean, this is so much more. The Facebook group isn't even that active. What's active is like the actual relationships behind the screen. Like people who have attended the first and second event have done each other's podcasts, have collaborated on workshops, have collaborated in programs, have created their own little masterminds. I mean, there's so many different things, these ripple effects that are happening. But it's those connections that I feel that are so priceless because, and I'm sure, Manpreet, you've experienced this, like the work that we do, it can be really tough to find people who get it and who get us and like who can really connect, we can really connect with. So I've done the work for you. They're all there.
You totally are, because you end up having these new amazing relationships and you walk away with like a real sisterhood. Mm-hmm. And people who are, when you're having a tough day, they're going to get it. But then when you're having an amazing day, they're like, we know you worked so hard to get there. And they actually celebrate with you.
Yes.
Like the people that I met at the event, we still, you know, like it's been amazing to watch their success, but also to witness it with them and be like, yes, I know that was really hard for you. So that's awesome that you did that. Mm-hmm. And vice versa.
Definitely.
And it's just like, yeah, there's just this amazing energy that you create in the room. It's like this ball of light, you know, and then everyone's like magnifying and then everyone comes out and they're like, hey, we're all like goddesses walking out of here.
I mean, really what I'm doing is I'm holding up a mirror and reflecting everyone else's light. Mm-hmm. And that is what creates the container. It's everyone's presence in that room and everyone making the commitment to show up and play all out. It's one of my rules. You have to play all out if you're going to be there. And that is what creates that energy and that experience. It's everyone's contribution of their presence, of their engagement, of the way in which they're showing up.
And especially like the fact that some people, this is a third year in a row and they're so excited to come back because of the relationships.
I mean, what other event has this? It's crazy. I mean, it's exactly what I intended to create. I wanted to create an experience where every year was different. So every year there is a slight but potent change to the content so that you can grow with it. Because as a leader for myself, I really embrace evolution. I'm here to grow. That's it. Like I'm just here to grow. And so I incorporate that growth and that evolution into everything that I do. And I encourage all my clients, my audience, my attendees to do the same. So the event continues to evolve and the experience continues to evolve. And now it's evolved so much that this is the final Amplified Soul Live event. So, I mean, if people are on the fence and they really want to experience this, this is it. I'm not doing Amplified Soul Live anymore. I mean, I'll be doing something different in the future, but it won't be this. So I mean, if you're on the fence, just fucking jump.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is why I wanted to do the call, because I didn't want anyone to miss this final one.
Yeah.
Because if they need to be there, they need to make sure that they're in that room. And it's an important piece. Like, just take the action. Like, that's the whole thing. Just take the action. So yeah, that's one of the, I'm like telling people, just do it. Just do it.
Yeah. I mean, I can say with full certainty, especially just with my own personal experience in making these types of investments in myself. It's not just money, it's like time and energy. It's all of it. But when you feel called to do something and you gift yourself with the opportunity to do so, and you show up and you play all out, you will be rewarded. You will be rewarded by your own internal growth and acceleration of your evolution. It just happens. It's just the act of doing it, of saying yes, is what gets that momentum going.
So I'll share a funny story with that. Like,
Yes.
So when I came last year, I don't know what happened. Well, things happened, but it was like I had to deal my money story in some way. But all my cards got frozen. I got left with I couldn't access my cash, and for whatever reason. And it was so interesting because it was one of those things I had to ask for support, but I never told any of the people I was with that I was going through this. And then the hotel called and they're like, "Oh, the card didn't go through." And I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. Like, it was weird because I had money on everything, but some reason everything got frozen. And I'm sitting there and I was like, it was such a great opportunity for me to ask for support and receive it. And I had to stand in my power, and I had to call a friend who owes me money and be like, hey, you need to do this. Ask someone else who owes me money, to be like, hey, you need to send it over. And it was just such a powerful experience. Like, I think on one of the nights I ended up having to I had to go 3 different stores to try to find a Western Union to get access to funds. When at the last point I just started crying in the cab, and the cab driver was like, it's okay, you don't have to pay me. Because I was like, I only have $15 cash left. He's like, go have dinner. Don't worry about it. And it was like, now I laugh. I'm like, I was a funny experience because it was such a powerful turning point in my money story. And also about asking and receiving support, and also standing in my power. The next day I had access, the day after I had access to everything again anyways, which is obviously that's how it happens.
Yeah.
But it was that was the energy at the event. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, why am I here? Why did I even come here? But that pivotal point, you never know where that pivotal point is going to come. But I knew I had to be there, and I was so supported. And knowing that there's people there, they're like, why didn't you just tell us that we could have lent you cash? That's not a problem. And it was such an amazing feeling, and turning point and everything else, and everything ever since then, that has never happened again. And I've had so much more cash that I've attracted, and the way that money came in, and it just opened up floodgates in such a different way. So it was it was a really powerful experience for me. And so that's why when you're called to something, you just got to go, because you never know what the lesson is, whether it's going to be inside the room, it's with the people there, or it's going to be outside, but there's something that calls you and you need to answer that call. It's an important piece of it.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. It's when we are called to things, we can get some of the most unexpected experiences, and yet they're also the experiences that we need.
Oh, completely.
Yeah.
Completely. So just being conscious of time and stuff. So, so tell me, how can people buy their tickets?
Yes.
What does it look like?
So you can head to rubyfremon.com/ASL. Manpreet will share the link. Yes. And as a special bonus offer to the Vesa community, what I would love to do is hop on a group coaching call with Manpreet, and we'll have you all the ticket buyers from the Vesa community come on, and you'll experience a powerful coaching and integration call post event. So that is something that I would like to personally throw in as a gift, as a token of appreciation, and just to show you that I really honor your courage to take this on and to make the commitment.
And that's unbelievable. I mean, that's such a value add for people. I mean,
I don't do this often.
No, exactly. And I mean, and the fact that you get this integration call afterwards with both of us, I would just strongly suggest, like, you're lucky that you're getting this, like, sign up today, sign up. And just let me know that you've signed up so we can make sure that you get the group call information, and you're part of it as well.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. But maybe any parting words that you want tell people, or?
Yeah. If you feel the call and you're on the fence, speak to the fear that's actually holding you back, because that's what's keeping you on the fence. Whether it's your fear of doing something for yourself, your fear of making the investment because you feel, XYZ will happen, whatever it is, be aware of what that fear is. Identify what that fear is. What is the actual fear that is holding you back from saying fuck yes? Identify that fear, and then start to unpack it. Where is that fear actually coming from? So that you can start to recognize the way in which you're making your choices, because we always operate from our unconscious belief system. So if you have these beliefs that are running from this place of fear, then you're always going to be making choices and decisions from that place, right? So if you want to start creating changes in the way in which you're operating, then you need to operate differently. And the quickest way to do that is to make a different choice. So to jump off the fucking fence and show up at the event.
Awesome. That is such a powerful, thank you for ending on a powerful note. So we're just gonna thank you for coming, being here, and let's listen to Ruby.
Thank you.
Thank you.